England's named about 10 different squads since we last were on air. I guess the big talking point for them at the moment, Zach Mercer. What's going on there? He was like the top 14 player of the year, wasn't he?
He must be too good. I don't know. I've got a bit of a beef with this, and I've had a bit of a beef with Borthwick for a while.
You guys have got beef?
No,
Goodey has beef with every England coach.
It's just my beef in my head, right? And there is a bit of beef. So Borthwick is his head coach at Leicester. Borthwick was my captain for England. And he was, Jim played against him loads of times. You know, you got signed at Saracens because they thought they were getting a like for like.
Leader.
When he retired. He's one of the most studious players and now coaches ever. Zero personality. And I'm not trying to be offensive here, but it's not a strength of his, right? And I got in touch with him a few times when he was head coach at Leicester. We were trying to get lads on the podcast. He was putting a blocker to it. Wouldn't let the Leicester lads come on any podcasts. Controlling it. He's a bit of a control freak. You know, the fact that he stabbed my mate Jordan Murphy in the back to get him out of the club as well. But yeah, I hold a bit of a grudge against it. But he won the Prem for Leicester. Won it in a way of, you know, obviously it wasn't that attractive rugby, but it doesn't matter. You've got the trophy, you've got the medal. And my big thing now is you're looking at England cricket, okay, and we haven't won the Ashes. But look at there's zero engagement, I think. And I speak to loads of England rugby fans. And they feel so far distant from the England team, the whole Eddie Jones thing. And then Steve Borthwick is ultimately a, what's the word I'm after?
Dictator.
Protege, that's it. So Steve Borthwick is a protege of Eddie Jones. So he worked for Eddie Jones, he's that mould, you know, but he hasn't got the charisma that Eddie Jones has got, even though Eddie Jones is at the other end of the spectrum in terms of the garbage that he comes out. How is the New Zealand economy, by the way?
Oh my God.
I do like Eddie Jones.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But like the engagement with England cricket, the team and the fans is the greatest it's ever been because of the players, the characters, how they play, Brendan McCullum, everything that comes across. And I think England rugby are going completely the opposite direction. And the engagement with, and people like that, I want to find it hard to support England at the World Cup because of how everything's set up, how we play, like how Steve is in the press. We don't get to hear much about the players. They're not allowed to do stuff. He's a control freak, right? And you look at how England and what they've done, and I might be proved completely wrong. And I hope I am proved wrong because we'll get to a quarterfinal or a semi-final, I think, because we're on the easy half of the draw and we've debated this for a long time about how the draw's been done. We ain't winning the World Cup unless we take risks, right? And take risks is Steve Borthwick changing the way he's always coached and led a team and set a team up, right? We saw nothing in the Six Nations different to what we saw under Eddie Jones, did we? Same thing, kicking it. And the results were still the same. Where did we finish? Fourth? Jim, where did we finish, England?
Don't look at me. I just know that Scotland finished above you.
Yeah. And I can't remember. It was that bad. We've all parked the memory of it. But you look at the best teams in the world now. The Springboks have got the way they play, and they're bloody good at it. So we ain't beating them by going toe-to-toe with them on a power game, kicking game. So you've got to look at different ways of skin the cat, even though you can't skin a cat these days. All Blacks play the way they play. France, Ireland, you know, I've just been on holiday with Faz, not with him, but in the same hotel. Met Dan Sheehan when I was out there as well. And I'm looking at that environment and I'm looking at how Faz is. And I'm talking to him about what they're doing over the World Cup. And you just see engagement and connection. And you know, I just don't see that with England. It's let's work hard and we're going to get better week on week. And there's nothing for England fans to get excited about, especially when you've got Zach Mercer, who's made a play to come back from France, probably on less money to play for Gloucester. He wants to play for England, and he is an unbelievable player. And we've struggled at number 8. Billy's injured, but Billy's come back into form. Zach Mercer's got a point of difference. Like Caden Murley, another one. When's Johnny May play well recently? Well, I haven't seen it, have you? But it's same old, and we're just going to end up in the same thing. We'll get to a semi-final or a quarter-final. We'll probably lose. And Steve will go, we didn't have much time together as a team, and we're building towards the next World Cup. Just excuses. So I think he needed to take a risk of we're going to change the way we play, and you go to the 10 debate. So Owen Farrell, head and shoulders above any of the 10 in England, should start at 10. And I tell you what, you should have Marcus Smith on the bench to change it if you need to, but you won't. He'll have George Ford on the bench, which is basically the same as Owen Farrell, but not anywhere near as good, without being too disrespectful, because Faz is so good. But I don't know. I'm just a bit. There's an opportunity in looking at England cricket and how they've connected and how they've played and how McCullum has backed, the likes of Crawley and Duckett and these boys just to go and play an exciting brand of cricket. You should have learnt from that. And because England are in the doldrums of how we've played over the last 4 years and how the feeling with England fans, I'm speaking to travel companies, they're like, sales aren't great for the World Cup because there's no engagement. But you look at the Test cricket, and it's the Ashes. The Ashes is the equivalent of the Rugby World Cup. It's the biggest thing in Test cricket. The Rugby World Cup is the biggest thing in Test match rugby. And there's you hear in some of the interviews, I heard George Ford saying something like, we've got the shortest amount of time of any team coming together because of, the change in the coaches, and we're all learning, and, we're going to do our best. And it's all a bit
boring.
Do you think they get tied down with always trying to pick? So Borthwick always has a game plan that he wants to play, so he picks players to fit that game plan rather than picking the best players and then finding a game plan.
But that's the coach's right, and it is. And hopefully I'm completely wrong, and I'm surprised, and we see a really exciting brand of England rugby play when we get to these warm-up games, which are we play Wales away, then Wales at home, Ireland away, then Fiji at home. And then we've got the big two in our group to start off with. So we've got Argentina, then Japan. And, it's set up for England to either do something huge by exciting people and changing the way we play and changing the narrative, or it's going to be the excuse thing of, we've not had that long together. Rassie Erasmus won the World Cup with the same amount of time that Steve Borthwick has had in terms of time with the squad, pretty much. And I don't know. I want to get excited, and hopefully these games over August will. Zach Mercer, how exciting is he? And how every time you see him play, whatever shirt he pulls on, he was Player of the Year in the top 14, not last season before. You look at his stats. If you want to dive deep, and Steve Borthwick's a big stats man, dive deep into his stats about meters after contact, defenders beaten, carries, meters made. He's top of a lot of them. In the top 14, you think of some of the players that are in there. And I think it's, and he's got Tom Willis in the squad as number 8. He's got Don Brandt. Don Brandt was poor in the Six Nations. Let's not beat around the bush. Billy's coming back into form, but he's injured. Where's Zach Mercer? It beggars belief for me, but that's just my kind of individual beef on it. And Borthers, relax a bit, have fun, let the boys be the boys. Don't be a school teacher, which is what I'm hearing the environment's a little bit like, and you won't ever hear the truth about that. But have in your mind, that's what he always says. We need to excite the fans, and we ain't winning the World Cup unless we change what we've done over the last 3 years, and I don't see much change.
Mate, I think England do well this World Cup.
Really?
World Cup. I think.
Well, we get to a semi, I think.
Well, that's all right, isn't it? I think you get to a semi, and then anything can happen.
We get to a semi because we've got an easy side of the group.
Yeah,
supposedly.
I reckon Georgia in the quarterfinal. I think they get out of their group second, and England top the pool.
Yeah,
play Georgia, and then it's a one-off.
Who's winning that group? Fiji. Might have been horrible.
I'll tell you now.
That's an exciting group, though, that, isn't it? Wales, Australia, Fiji,
tough.
Georgia, Portugal. I've got a Portuguese mate. He's backing them as well.
Backing them what to turn up on the pitch?
Well,
it's good to see them back there in there in 2007. I think England do better. Every World Cup, they do. I say every apart from 2015. Sorry, 2007 finalists, 2019 finalists, World Cup, and I reckon the game plan, as boring as it is, takes you to the semis. It's a shootout.
Would you be excited if you're an England fan right now?
No, I'm not hugely excited across any of the.
I am.
Home
Look how
nations.
good you are, home nations.
I was going to say.
But Ireland.
Ireland
France
as well. But Ireland have got a tough side of the pool, haven't they?
Yeah.
And then France. I'm excited about France, but they're a bit of an anomaly, aren't they? They don't speak can't speak English. Not that means I don't like them.
You don't like them because they don't speak English.
I'm drawn to the Southern Hemisphere.
You don't like them
teams
because of what happened to you at Montpellier.
I know, very true. I'm drawn to
Le
the
Grand
Southern
Poulet.
Hemisphere. Oh, here's Le Grand Poulet. I am drawn to the Southern Hemisphere teams. I don't know whether because the Championship is so good at the minute.
Yeah.
And because World Cup, you think New Zealand, you think South Africa, and I'm a fan of Eddie Jones. I love.
Oh, I mean, he's
the
engaging.
Content. He gives us the content we need.
He's engaging with his drivel that he comes out with, but he's past his sell-by date as a coach. I don't think he's won a game for about 5 years, has he?
Poor bloke.
Pod.
Rugby pod.